Tony says, why is so hard to look with the eye of the now? It's really hard. Yes, because we're conditioned. Pretty much everything you see is second-handed. You see them for a second, and the minute you see them and you recognize what it is, you see a tree, you see a building, you see the tree, you recognize what it is. So far so good, it's now. But as soon as you recognize the tree, you get a little closer, you see, you saw a certain kind of a tree like this a few years ago in such and such garden or wherever it was, then you're no longer here. Because you're constantly going to the field of the known, to your consciousness. Because in the field of the known, everything is known. When everything is known, there's a certain relaxing and security there. You know, even the knowledge is limited, but in the field of the known, everything is known. There's no surprises. And that brings security. So you constantly see things and you go in there, you bring that information with you back, and you overlay this information on what you're facing with, and you look at this thing with the information you had in the past, and that's why you miss the actual life, because you're no longer with that thing. I see a building here in front of me. Right in that building, there's memories, things I've done in that building. It's a place I buy fruits and things. So I look at the building, I don't see the building. I see the building to the recognition level. And then right after that, it's all about the things that I've experienced in that building. The pastries I bought, the food I bought, the fruits that I bought. So we're conditioned to constantly live our lives through our consciousness. As I said before, it's like having that virtual reality goggle on, which limits the frame of our field of vision and makes us think that all there is what's in the virtual reality goggle. The movie that you're watching is all there is in that virtual reality goggle. And that limits our vision and makes us believe that's the whole world. And the consciousness is acting the same way. It's like the virtual reality goggle makes us have a limitation of our information, a limitation of our field of vision, and it only expands through this field of the known, the consciousness, and limits the world for us rather than let us explore and know, be aware that there's a lot more into the universe, into the life, than what we have accumulated in this consciousness. So we gotta learn how to let the mind out of the consciousness so we can see what's out there. Because as soon as you take the virtual reality goggle off, you see, holy macaroni, this is the movie that I was so infatuated or affected by, falling off the cliff, or flying an aircraft and feeling it as if I was really doing it, was because I couldn't see anything else, and I thought that is the whole world and there's nothing else exists. But when I take it off of my head, I can see, oh, there's so many other things, roads, people, opportunities, things out there. I'm no longer scared because there's so much more out there for me to explore. And I'm not limited to that, believing that limited portion of what I see is the whole entirety of the thing that I'm living in it. The consciousness, that's what it does. Makes you think the whole infinite opportunities and existence of this life with a limited amount of vision, and therefore you're seeing the whole infinite expansion of the universe of life with the limited version. So you're seeing the whole with the limited. You think the limited is the whole, but only you're seeing the whole through that limited field of vision, not that the whole is actually the field of vision that you're watching. You should be always aware that what you're watching is not the whole thing. There's something more is to come. What it is that you're experiencing is not how the whole thing is. Everything changes. And that knowledge will help you to know that knowledge is always limited. Whatever it is that you're using to negotiate life is limited. And therefore, it is not that you're in contact with the whole thing. You're only interacting and negotiating with a portion of life that your consciousness is allowing to be aware of. get your thoughts and mind out of your consciousness, then you'll be able to see the whole entirety of opportunities of life and world. And then you will not be so bogged down with so little things, including the things that you cannot see because you're looking at them with the eye of the past, having covered over what you're trying to find out and learn, but it doesn't let you because you're constantly perceiving what you're seeing instead of getting out of your consciousness, getting out of the field of the known, and only using that knowledge in your consciousness in order to recognize things so you can then go on further into what the actuality of them is, not to get stuck in that level of information that you're limited by its availability and existence in your consciousness. Hope that would be something for you to think about.